Hey, what is up everyone? It's Rich. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the ASUS ROG G14 gaming laptop. Now, this is a beast of machine capable of handling any games that you throw at it. It features a full-fledged RTX 3060 and a Ryzen 5 5900HS in such a small form factor. Now, enough of all that being said, hit that like and subscribe button and let's get right into the video. Alright, so super quick guys, this is the first video in the new apartment and I want to start filming some more tech videos here because the atmosphere is so much better, lighting is so much better, you know, my desk is so much better. A lot of things are just better in general, and if you guys want to see a desk setup tour, you know, just let me know in the comments down below and I'll definitely get into that. But with all that being said, let's move on to the G14 laptop. So as you open the packaging of the G14, it's pretty sweet. There's a carrying handle which you can push into the box, and as you open it, the box lid raises itself up pretty similar to how the laptop lid raises itself, which I'll talk about soon. And you know, that's pretty cool. I bet you some thought definitely went into that. Now what's included is the laptop itself wrapped in an anti-static bag, the AC power adapter and a power cable, a few instruction manuals which we don't need, and that's pretty much it. You know, if I were you, I'd keep the box because it looks pretty cool. And upon first glance, the laptop weighs only 3.5 pounds, making this a pretty light machine in its class. This means that this laptop will easily fit into most backpacks without any problems. The G14 is sporting a very beautiful, clean, yet futuristic build. They got these perforated holes in the form of a diagonal design running across the screen. Now this machine doesn't have the anime feature, which you might get if you got the higher end version of this laptop. So no, there's no LED lights or, you know, symbols on the back of the screen, unfortunately. But there's a beautiful glossy Republic of Gamers emblem at the corner of the outer lid, which is a little bit more purple the more I look at it. You know, it's a really nice bling and I really dig it. So when looking at this laptop, it doesn't really give off the super rainbow gaming feel vibe. It's more of a simple, immaculate design, and honestly, I personally like it. And as you open it up, the G14 lid will raise the base at a slight angle to aid in ergonomics and cooling, and this is what I was talking about earlier with the box opening the same way as the computer. Now, the front of the laptop has no ports, but on the right side there's a single USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 port, two USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 ports, and a Kensington lock, you know, to avoid any stealing. Typically see these used as display units at maybe a local Best Buy or Walmart or whatever. And on the left is the AC power adapter, an HDMI port, another USB-C Gen 2 port, and a 3.5mm audio input. Now I'd say the G14 is pretty decorated with the ports, except there's no Ethernet connection, which is a little bit disappointing. But moving on to the keyboard, it has a pretty deep travel. Now it gives it a stronger feedback. The keys are nicely laid out with the spacebar being a little fatter than usual. It's lacking a couple of keys like the home, page up and down and whatnot. And let's not forget about the number pad, so that's something to keep in mind if you want a laptop featuring a full keyboard layout. The G14 had to cut some keys due to the ultra portable form factor, so I guess that makes sense. On the flip side, the keyboard here supports only single zone white backlighting, and you got static, breathing, and strobing. Unfortunately, there's no RGB mode, which is a little bit disappointing. I would have liked that since this is a silver laptop and the colors definitely would have popped out. Personally, the lights aren't that cool. I normally have it off. I do want to mention that this laptop does have a fingerprint sensor located right on top of the power button, so signing into Windows is very, very easy and pretty fun. You know, this reminds me a lot of the Touch ID feature that's on the MacBook Airs and Pros, so good job for ASUS for including that. Now the precision click pad, as ASUS calls it, or just a touchpad, is smooth with just a little bit of sticking when you glide at slower speeds. I personally think this is also a little bit too deep to click, and after some hours of using this, my fingers get sore from clicking live from this laptop. That's if you don't have a mouse. Overall, the keyboard and touchpad experience is pretty good. I think there are some ways ASUS could have improved upon it. I think the best way to describe the keys are a little bit juicy. You know, the inputs are pretty deep for both the keyboard and the touchpad. You know, the travel distance is a lot deeper than usual, so that's something to keep in mind. Also, the lack of keys, which I mentioned earlier, are something to look out for as well. Now, moving on to the display. The display is where it's at. The G14 is rocking a buttery smooth 144Hz monitor with the full 100% standard RGB color range. I mean, literally, they put a sticker right there. Now, another thing to note is that the G14 I have here is a 1080p screen, but ASUS does offer a 1440p display with a full DCI P3 coverage at the cost of a lower 120Hz refresh rate for the higher end models. Now, FreeSync is enabled by default on the main display with the support of G-Sync on compatible monitors, but as far as the display goes, the image quality is superb for both gaming and videos. You know, after watching a few shows on Netflix and playing a number of games, I was just impressed with the punchy display, bright shining colors and whatnot. 144Hz just makes it so buttery smooth, and honestly I just feel really fast as compared to my ultra-wide 75Hz monitor, which I have right over there. I think the bezels on this laptop are somewhat thinner than most gaming laptops, but you will also notice that this does not have a webcam. This is pretty problematic if you often video call with friends or people at work, and if you guys are online in school, you may need to use Zoom or something. You're gonna need an external webcam, which is a hassle. Alright, so moving on to the performance, let's talk about the specs. This model, which I picked up here at my local Best Buy, is sporting a Ryzen 9 5900HS, which is an absolute beast of a CPU with 8 cores and a base clock of 3 GHz. You get a dedicated RTX 3060 with 6 gigs of VRAM, capable of handling pretty much any modern games you throw at it at 1080p settings, 16 GB of memory, and 1 TB of SSD for blazing fast load times. And that's pretty decked out. You know, thin and light laptops usually have substandard specs when it comes to gaming, but ASUS has found the perfect sweet spot with the Zephyrus G14, managing to fit in the components that can easily handle mainstream gaming. So I'll give you benchmarks of the games I tested out. I was able to run Call of Duty Modern Warfare, averaging around 80.1 FPS 1080p and 65.6 FPS on 1440p, all on ultra settings. This is a beautiful first-person shooter game with a huge map, as many laptops aren't able to run it as well. Second, Rainbow Six Siege came in at 159 FPS on 1080p and 106.2 on 1440p, yet again same on ultra settings. And lastly, Red Dead Redemption 2, a graphically intense game that requires the most demanding machines to run it beautifully. 46.4 FPS on 1080p and 35.9 FPS on high settings. So with this machine, you're not going to get any problems running these games, and I'd say they're pretty graphically intense, especially Red Dead Redemption 2. So if the G14 can run it, it can run pretty much anything else. Alright, so I was able to capture some footage of me absolutely dominating some kids on Rainbow Six Siege. Like, they're not even standing a chance. Come on now. The gaming on this laptop is pretty enjoyable. I really like the small and personalized feel that comes with this 14-inch laptop. I will say though that the USB ports on the right hand side can be a little bit cumbersome, especially since most of us use our mouse on the right hand side. So there has been a few times where my mouse has hit the cords, and if you have any other devices connected like a hard drive or something else, there's just going to be a lot of cables on the right hand side, and especially when you're gaming, I just don't want that. But playing games on this machine felt very grounded and, you know, kind of me. It's not as massive as some 15.6 or 17-inch gaming laptops on the market, but I appreciate the small form factor of the G14. Now, the fans can get pretty whiny during intense gaming. It's not too annoying, but you can definitely hear it if you aren't wearing any headphones for several hours. But with those fans, it makes for a pretty decently cool laptop under hours of game time. It doesn't get hot, it just gets a little warm, and that's all. Alright, so overall, what's my opinion on the ASUS Zephyrus G14 gaming laptop? Well, I think it's actually a fantastic laptop for being so portable. Like I mentioned earlier, the small form factor just gives a more personalized feel, and the exterior design looks pretty damn cool. I mean, the white perforated holes on the lid looks good. The inside could use a little bit more work, especially regarding the keyboard and the touchpad. The screen looks fantastic. 144Hz is the way to go. I'll give the hinge lid opening, you know, some extra points because that's really cool. And I think this laptop fits someone who's more of a student slash gamer, you know, someone who kind of wants something a little bit more portable in a gaming laptop. And if you're in the market for something like a portable gaming laptop with a lot of power, you know, I definitely recommend this. Just keep in mind the features and lack of keys and stuff that I mentioned earlier in your head, if that's something that may bother you. But that's the end of the video. If you like this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content in the future. Let me know what type of laptops, phones, or devices, or just tech in general you want to see me review. Say it in the comment section down below. Or if you just want to say hi, say that as well. I read every one of your comments, so don't hesitate to just say something. But hey, that's all I got for this week's video. Anyways, until next time, I'll see you guys then.